yes, for anyone who is curious, if you haven't done many Zoom calls, if you can see me and hear me, you're in the right place. So nothing to worry about. You're here. Well, you're here. You're in the right place if you're ready to see King John. Let's put it that way. If you were supposed to go to another Zoom call, I'm sorry, but we have a great scene ahead. So my name is Nathan Agan. I am the host and producer of The Working Actor's Journey, started as a podcast. And over 2020, we did some live stream readings, and that kind of morphed into these workshops that we've been doing a few times, including, the final presentations this week. And just to give you a little bit of context about what this is, in case you haven't seen the previous evenings. So we've taken one scene with a group, director and actors, and a dramaturg and a vocal coach, and really dived deep into the text of that one scene over a month. And as any of these artists will attend, that is such a luxury to have that amount of time to work on this material. Even in professional productions, you're lucky if you get 3 to 4 weeks of rehearsal. Very quickly, you're up on your feet and just trying to stage everything. So we were excited to be able to put the focus on the text, and that's really been a great experience for everybody. To let you know, there is one more evening of scenes tomorrow, February 12th at 5 p.m. Pacific. We have a couple scenes from As You Like It. And so I will include some links later this evening, but basically where you reserved the ticket for tonight, you can go back to that same place and get a ticket for As You Like It. Everything's for free. We do plan to do more workshops and are exploring other opportunities. And so by signing up, we'll definitely let you know, keep you apprised of things, whether you would be interested to join as an actor, as an attendee, or just continue to come to these scene evenings. And one of the other things we were excited to start is a coaching system where many of the artists and actors that you see this week are available for one-on-one private coaching. Anything from auditions to acting in general, to Shakespeare, to singing. You can book your time directly with them. So we're excited to, again, make more ways for you to connect with these experienced professionals. For this evening, I wanted to let you know that there is a Q&A or portion, assuming we don't go too long, but if you have any questions, you can put them in the Zoom chat box, and those will come right to me, and I'll gather all those. Please feel free to put any other feedback as we're going, and things like that, and I'll definitely share that with the artists, either during tonight or afterwards if we run out of time. We definitely welcome your questions about the process, the scene, anything you're curious about. I will send out a replay link. Give us a day or two. Hopefully it'll be sooner. But you'll be able to watch this back if you need to leave or you just want to review anything. And one of the things that we were very excited about with this week, and you'll have noticed with the other scenes, is that we can really focus on gender blind, age blind, and color blind casting with this, because we're putting the focus on the text, and that's been really exciting. Every one of the actors that registered had the opportunity to work with a text coach and a voice coach. So again, it's been really exciting to bring this level of professionals to newer or younger actors. And just introduce them to how professionals work on this stuff. So tonight is a continuation of the workshops that the actors and the director and dramaturg have been doing. And so the groups handle it differently. You might see them go back and rework a section, go back and rework the whole scene, do notes. So, this is meant to just kind of be a continued peek into that process. Let me do a quick introduction of everybody that you'll see, and they'll be on in a moment. But the director is Gigi Bermingham. Playing King John is Marcelo Tubert. Playing Queen ELINOR is Madeleine. Playing Philip Falconbridge is Ross Hellwig, and playing CHATILLON and Robert Falconbridge is Corinna Christman. Don't believe I forgot about it. Oh, and in a second you'll see him too. Our dramaturg for this evening is Gideon Rappaport. So I believe that's it for me. That covers everything. Again, if you have any questions, notes, anything like that, any feedback for the actors, please feel free to utilize those Zoom emoticons or emojis through this. We appreciate you guys being on mute and off camera. It's just not the same as being in a theater, but we're doing our best to at least kind of bring that experience as best we can. And with that, I'll wrap up here and I will turn it over to Gideon, and he'll share a little bit more about the play that you're going to see the scene from, and we'll go from there. So Gideon, it's off to you.
Thank you, Nathan. So I will just give a little bit of background of this play. It's set in medieval England. Shakespeare gets it, the plot, the stories from Holinshed for the most part. The backstory is Henry II, the great King Henry II, had several sons, and his sons were in a very complex relation with him, sometimes rebelling against him, sometimes making peace. The sons that matter to us are the heir to the throne, who was Richard the Lionheart, whom you all know from being absent during the Robin Hood stories when Prince John later becomes King John. He's called Coeur de Lion, the heart of a lion. We call him Richard the Lionheart. He's got two younger brothers. One of them, named Geoffrey, is a bastard. That is, he was born out of wedlock to the king. The other one, younger, is John, and he was legitimate, and he was born within wedlock to the king. So he, John, inherits the throne with the passing of Richard the Lionheart. There's a fly in the ointment, and that is Geoffrey's young son, whose name is Arthur, has a mother named Constance, who believes that Arthur should be the king. Because he's the son of an older brother than John, he has some claim to the throne. So he's pushed to claim that throne, though he's a young boy, by his mother and by the King of France. So that's backstory. Now, what we have before us is the entry of two brothers, sons of a father who's got a chunk of land that brings in 500 pounds a year. And Sir Robert is the name of this landholder. He dies and he leaves two sons, an older son named Philip and a younger son named Robert. Both of them are claiming the inheritance of this chunk of land and income. And the question is why? And the answer is it's thought that the elder, Philip, like Geoffrey, is a bastard. So who was his real father? And can he inherit from his legal father when he's someone else's son? And that's all I want to say. You will find the unfolding of the story in a moment. Now I will introduce Gigi Bermingham, who's directed the scene, and I will be in the background.
Hello, it's so sad not to be able to see you all. Thank you for coming tonight. I don't have anything to add. Thank you so much, Gideon, for your brilliant explanation of the backstory. My concentration in directing the actors has been primarily the way I would direct anyone in any scene. Well, you know, what is their motivation? What is the obstacle to getting what they want, and what action are they going to take to get what they want? So that's what we've talked about, and of course, given circumstances and anything that you would study for any scene, any play. So now I'm going to allow the actors to present the first run through of this scene, and then after that first presentation, we'll continue to rehearse and to work on it. All right, actors, please join me. This is our King John. This is our Queen ELINOR, and this is CHATILLON.
Now say, CHATILLON, what would France with us?
Thus, after greeting, speaks the King of France in my behavior to the Majesty, the borrowed Majesty of England here.
A strange beginning. Borrowed Majesty?
Silence, good mother. Hear the embassy.
Philip of France, in right and true behalf of thy deceased brother Geoffrey's son, Arthur Plantagenet, lays most lawful claim to this fair island and the territories, to Ireland, Poitiers, Anjou, Touraine, Maine, desiring thee to lay aside the sword which sways usurpingly these several titles, and put the same into young Arthur's hand, thy nephew and right royal sovereign.
What follows if we disallow of this?
The proud control of fierce and bloody war, to enforce these rights so forcibly withheld.
Here have we war for war and blood for blood, controlment for controlment. So answer France.
Then take my king's defiance from my mouth, the farthest limit of my embassy.
Bear mine to him, and so depart in peace. Be thou as lightning in the eyes of France, for ere thou canst report, I will be there. The thunder of my cannon shall be heard. So hence, be thou the trumpet of our wrath and sullen presage of your own decay. An honorable conduct let him have. Pembroke, look to it. Farewell, Chatillon.
What now, my son? Have I not ever said how that ambitious Constance would not cease till she has kindled France and all the world upon the right and party of her son? This could have been prevented by easy arguments of love, which now the manage of two kingdoms must with fearful bloody issue arbitrate.
Our strong possession and our right for us.
Your strong position, much more than your right, or else it must go wrong with you and me. So much my conscience whispers in my ear, which none but God and you and I shall hear.
My liege, here is the strangest controversy come from the country to be judged by you that e'er I heard. Shall I produce the men?
Let them approach. Our abbeys and our priories shall pay this expedition's charge. What men are you?
Your faithful subject, I, a gentleman born in Northamptonshire, and eldest son, as I suppose, to Robert Falconbridge, a soldier by the honor-giving hand of Coeur de Lion, knighted in the field.
And what art thou?
The son and heir to that same Falconbridge.
Is that the elder, and art thou the heir? You came not of one mother, then, it seems.
Oh, most certain of one mother, mighty king, that is well known, and as I think, one father. But for the certain knowledge of that truth, I put you o'er to heaven into my mother. Of that I doubt, as all men's children may.
How, John, thee rude man, thou dost shame thy mother and wound her honor with this diffidence.
Ay, madam, no. I have no reason for it. That's my brother's plea, and none of mine. The which, if he can prove, he pops me out at least from fair £500 a year. Heaven guard my mother's honor and my land.
A good blunt fellow. Why, being younger born, doth he lay claim to thine inheritance?
Well, I know not why, except to get the land, but once he slandered me with bastardy. But where I be as true begot or no, that still I lay upon my mother's head. But that I am as well begot, my liege, fair fall the bones that took the pains for me. Compare our faces, and be judge yourself. If old Sir Robert did beget us both, and were our father, and this son like him, oh, old Sir Robert, father, on my knee, I give heaven thanks I was not like to thee.
Why, what a madcap hath heaven lent us here.
He hath a trick of Coeur de Lion's face. The accent of his tongue affecteth him. Do you not read some tokens of my son in the large composition of this man?
Mine eye hath well examined his parts, and find them perfect, Richard. Sirrah, speak. What doth move you to claim your brother's land?
Because he hath a half face like my father. With half that face would he have all my land. A half-faced groat, £500 a year.
My gracious liege, when that my father lived, your brother did employ my father much.
Well, sir, by this you cannot get my land. Your tale must be how he employed my mother.
And once dispatched him in an embassy to Germany, there with the emperor to treat of high affairs touching the time. And the advantage of his absence took the king, and in the meantime sojourned at my father's, where how he did prevail, I shame to speak. But truth is truth. Large lengths of seas and shores between my father and my mother lay, as I have heard my father speak himself, when this same lusty gentleman was got. Upon his deathbed, he by will bequeathed his lands to me and took it on his death that this my mother's son was none of his. And if he were, he came into the world full 14 weeks before the course of time. Then, good my liege, let me have what is mine, my father's land, as was my father's will.
Sirrah, your brother is legitimate. Your father's wife did after wedlock bear him, and if she did play false, the fault was hers, which fault lies in the hazards of all husbands that marry wives. Tell me, how if my brother, who, as you say, took pains to get this son, had of your father claimed this son for his? In sooth, good friend, your father might have kept this calf bred from his cow from all the world. In sooth, he might. Then, if he were my brother's, my brother might not claim him, nor your father, being none of his, refuse him. This concludes. My mother's son did get your father's heir. Your father's heir must have your father's land.
Shall then my father's will be of no force to dispossess that child which is not his?
No more force to dispossess me, sir, than was his will to get me, as I think.
Whether hast thou rather be a Falconbridge, or, and like thy brother to enjoy thy land, or the reputed son of Coeur de Lion, lord of thy presence and no land besides?
Madam, if my brother had my shape and I had his, Sir Robert's his like him, and if my legs were two such riding rods, my arms such eelskin stuffed, my face so thin that in mine ear I durst not stick a rose, lest men should say, look where 3 farthings goes, and to his shape were heir to all this land, would I might never stir from off this place, I would give it every foot to have this face. I would not be Sir Nob in any case.
I like thee well. Wilt thou forsake thy fortune, bequeath thy land to him, and follow me? I am a soldier and now bound to France.
Brother, take you my land. I'll take my chance. Your face hath got £500 a year, yet sell your face for 5 pence, and 'tis dear. Madam, I'll follow you unto the death.
Nay, I'd have rather have you go before me thither.
Our country manners give our betters way.
What is thy name?
Philip, my liege, so is my name begun. Philip, good old Sir Robert's wife's eldest son.
From henceforth bear his name whose form thou bearest. Kneel down, Philip, but rise more great. Arise, Sir Richard and Plantagenet.
Brother by the mother's side, give me your hand. My father gave me honor, yours gave land. Now blessed be the hour by night or day, when I was got, Sir Robert was away.
The very spirit of Plantagenet. I am thy grandam, Richard. Call me so.
Oh, madam, by chance, but not by truth. What though? Something about a little from the right, in at the window, or else o'er the hatch. Who dares not stir by day, must walk by night, and have is have, however men do catch. Near or far off, well won is still well shot, and I am I, howe'er I was begot.
Go, Falconbridge, now hast thou thy desire. A landless knight makes thee a landed squire. Come, madam, and come, Richard, we must speed for France, for it is more than need.
Brother, adieu. Good fortune come to thee, for thou wast got in the way of honesty. A foot of honor, better than I was, but many a many foot of land the worse. Well, now can I make any Joan a lady? Good den, Sir Richard. God a mercy, fellow, and if his name be George, I'll call him Peter. For new made honor doth forget men's names. It's too respective and too sociable for your conversion. Now, your traveler, he and his toothpick at my worship's mess, and when my nightly stomach is sufficed, why then I suck my teeth and catechize my picked man of countries. My dear sir, thus leaning on my elbow, I begin, I shall beseech you, that is question now. And then comes answer like an Absey book. Oh, sir, says answer, at your best command, at your employment, at your service, sir. Oh, no, sir, says question. I, sweet sir, at yours. And so answer knows what question would, saving in dialogue of compliment and talking of the Alps, the Apennines, the Pyrenean, and the River Po. It draws toward supper in conclusion, so. But this is worshipful society, and fits the mounting spirit like myself. For he is but a bastard to the time that doth not smack of observation. And so am I, whether I smack or no. And not alone in habit and device, exterior form, outward accoutrement, but from the inward motion to deliver sweet, sweet, sweet poison for the age's tooth, at which, though I will not practice to deceive, yet to avoid deceit I mean to learn, for it shall strew the footsteps of my rising.
You're muted, Gigi.
Sorry, thank you for pointing that out. I was saying that was wonderful. It was a very abrupt departure, but the meat was there. So thank you for that. Did you want to say something right away, Gideon?
I got a few specific line notes if you want me to do that whenever you want.
Yes, why don't you go ahead and do that? Okay.
Starting from the beginning, line 10, CHATILLON to this fair island instead of ta. That's my hobby horse. King at line 56. I am hearing what are thou, and it needs to be what art thou with the T.
Oh yes, I think you. What art thou? What art thou? Art thou? Yes. Sure
Line 93 is also the king.
All right.
Mine, what did I write? Oh, mine eye hath well examined his parts instead of my eye, mine eye. I think that was
mine
it.
eye hath, yeah, mine eye hath well examined his parts and finds them perfect riches.
Oh, I know what it was. You said find them, and it's finds them.
Finds them perfect.
Yes.
Make sure you hit all those consonants.
Yes, the consonants, please, especially on Zoom. Robert Falconbridge at line 104, that time instead of the time.
Yes, yeah.
Philip, line 141, and if.
I swallowed the and, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. King at line 166. You left out the thou. Kneel thou down, Philip, but rise.
Yes,
more.
I've been doing that consistently. So that now it's time to just poke my eye out. Okay.
I will not poke your eye out, but I will repeat myself if I have.
No, listen, I appreciate it.
Philip, line 220. What is it? Oh, no, it was what was it? Line 200, I'm sorry. Mine elbow. Not my elbow, but mine elbow.
Mine, thank you.
At line 208, Alps and Apennines rather than Alps, the Apennines.
Oh, did I say and the Apennines?
No, you didn't say and the, you said of the Alps, the Apennines instead of the Alps and Apennines.
Gotcha, thank you.
And last one at line 222, Yeah, I wouldn't hit the my so much. I would go more for the rising.
Rising. Okay.
I loved the way you did that speech. In general, I want to say everybody did a wonderful job. And I really love the way you did that speech, but go for the last word rather than the pronoun.
Thank you.
That's it for me for now.
Okay.
Thanks, Gideon.
And I just have one for you, Philip, and that is 211. I'm so sorry. That's not 214. Observation.
Right. Did I stretch it out? The
It's just
multisyllabic
you need those 3 feet of the meter.
observation. Thank you.
That's not smack of observation.
Great.
That was not a line reading. That was just for the meter.
I got you. Thank you.
However, so are you finished, Gideon?
Yes, ma'am.
So do this now for a second, Gideon.
Yes.
Go like that. So everybody, this is so important what Gideon shares with us. But for this next run through, I want you to not worry about that. I want us to just concentrate on the intentions and the given circumstances. So you can just relax a little bit about the speech. I thought it's awesome. You know, although Nathan says it's so luxurious to have 4 weeks to work on the scene together with your director, you've only actually had once a week for an hour and a half or 2 hours. This is the 4th time. So we've only had 3 rehearsals prior to this for an hour and a half or 2 hours. So we've actually had very little time together. And I know some of you have had some time with Gideon and Ursula for voice, and that's fantastic. But actually, we haven't had very much time together. So we're just going to continue to work on the material, okay? I have some technical things. So Corinna, do you have hair clips or something to put your hair back? Nothing, or even a rubber band, something, because it is a little distracting when it falls into your face. So I'll start at the top. King John, if there's anything
Yes.
you can do to begin the scene with sort of oomph, that is to say, to present the beginning of the scene, that you are deigning to speak now. And so it can be a little more
Is it like a little more formal?
kingly presentational.
A little more formal.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
formal is not the word I'm looking for. Just announcing yourself by speaking. You're announcing you're opening the floor. Do you see what I'm saying?
I am.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, good.
Well, we'll see.
It's an invitation. You know, you're inviting the proceedings to begin. You're here for the reception of whomever is coming before you, right? Okay.
Gotcha.
That was great presenting the news, CHATILLON. That was wonderful. You've been working with Gideon? Yeah, it's yeah. Nice work. Very nice, both of you. So CHATILLON, you know you left too early, right? You want to wait till King John releases you. He says farewell, CHATILLON. So that's the very subtle hint that that's the moment to leave. Queen ELINOR, take some deep breaths as you work. Take deep breaths, because especially in Shakespeare, you don't want to be breaking up lines at places that they shouldn't be broken. Do you know what I mean? You want to be sure to have enough breath to follow through on the line. King John.
Yes.
Our strong possession. Where's that? Our strong possession.
That's
right
39.
Yes. So what are you doing there? What are you doing there? Why are you replying to her in that way? It's not even a full sentence. What are you saying to her? She says.
By possession, by the possession we have the right to this. It's ours.
And do you really?
Well, in my mind, yes.
Yeah, but isn't it? Are you defending a little bit? I don't know. I'm asking.
Yeah.
Or you're telling her to shut up or something. I just think it can be sharper in that you're trying to suppress her in a way, I think.
Yeah, a strong position or right for us. Yeah, it's an odd line. I find it an odd line. That's probably why you're picking up a little bit on that. I don't think I was hesitant with it, but it's it needs a little more oomph to it. Okay.
I think it's a strong reply. It's a rebuttal to her nagging at you. She's like she's blaming you. She's she's telling you, I told you so. I freaking told you this would happen.
Right.
I told you
this could have
this,
been this could have been prevented.
This could have been prevented. You're not, he's got a point. Are you the king? I don't know. And you're like, I'm the king. I'm here. Who's sitting in this throne? I'm here. Just try and shut her up.
Gotcha.
You're not going to shut her up, but in a kingly way, try to shut her up.
I like it. Thanks.
Okay. Everybody, what I've talked about, the royal constant openness, power emanating from your chest, authority. You're all authoritative beings. So everyone should have this kind of the pride of stature. Y'all watch Downton Abbey?
Yeah.
I mean, that was only 150 years, 100 years ago, right? But the breeding that the upstairs family possesses prevents them from ever caving over. You never see them cave over. Even Lady Edith, when she's in utter despair and weeping, she still weeps with her back straight. She might do this, but she would never, she would never do this. She would never collapse. This remains. When you have royalty or you have stature, it's the first thing you're taught is you stand with self-respect. So I think everybody in the in this story can afford to stand with authority. King John.
Yes.
Around 58. 58. Is that the elder? Remember that on 58, is that the elder and art thou the heir, that you're speaking to Robert? Remember that you're speaking to Robert.
Yeah. Well, I'm speaking. Yes. Is that the elder? I mean, is that the elder, and art thou the heir? Right.
Yeah.
So because I have Robert to my right. Is that the? No, but he's asking. Is that the elder?
Yeah. Is that the elder, and art thou the heir? So
and art thou the heir?
You're talking to Robert, but who responds to you is Philip. So twice you ask Robert something and Philip responds. So I know we're on Zoom and like, where is everybody? And am I on my right or on my left? That doesn't matter. You can always win by looking into camera. So whoever you're speaking to, look into camera if you like. And then
I had a little
Marcelo,
note.
let me just finish my thought. Okay. My thought is just that you can look into camera when you're speaking to Robert. And then when Philip responds, look elsewhere. Like you're talking to Robert, but then look else. It doesn't matter where you look, but you're getting your response not from the person you're talking to. That will clarify for us that you were supposed to be getting a response from Robert. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I think I have Robert. Is that the elder? I had him here. Is that the elder? And art thou the heir? So I had them in two different places. But is that the elder? And art thou? I mean, I could just keep it here. Is that the elder? And art thou the heir? I don't know if that makes sense.
What I'm saying is, as long as you shift your focus from whoever you're asking the question to, we will know that somebody else is answering you. You're not getting the answer from the person that otherwise it looks like, I don't want to spend too much time on this. It just looks like
I got you.
It looks like you were asking it looks like you were asking Philip, is that the elder and art thou the heir? Right now, the way it is. So this might be more than we can handle on Zoom. But on 58 and 93, you're asking Robert, and then it's Philip who answers you. So I'm just saying, for your response, you ask the question and you might just look somewhere else for when you hear the response, if it's easy to do.
Yeah, I think I got it.
For the asides between Queen Eleanor and King John, you might want to, Marcelo is doing great. Queen Eleanor, you might notice he comes very close to the camera to show us that it's an aside. Or I don't even mind if you guys do this or that, whatever. Well, I don't care. I mean, they wouldn't do that, but so it's better if you just approach the camera. Yeah, I don't. This doesn't work because that's so plebeian. But just move closer to the camera so we know it's an aside. And remember that it is an aside between you. I don't want to I don't want to spend too much time talking, but like I said, it's safe to look at the camera. When in doubt, look at the camera for whoever you're talking to. Robert, nice speech. Nice big speech. Yes, 102 and so on, 102 on. Around 117, you know, you're asking for it. So don't just say the words, but choose to now, you know, you've explained everything, and now put your fate in his hands. Really ask, really demand, you know, this is what, please do the right thing. Come on, right?
Yeah.
Say to the king, come on, and we'll be all right. Queen Elizabeth, around 140. I just want to give you an example of a place where you can pitch up at the end of the sentence. Not that way, not the way I just did, where people in current parlance always talk like they have questions. Every time they're talking, they're always asking questions like that all the time. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm not talking about doing that. I'm just talking about using, especially in Shakespeare, using the opportunity to pitch something up so that you might have emphasis the way that I'm doing right now, so that you understand what I'm saying. There's emphasis at the end of my line. So you might use that technique, for example, at the end of that brief speech that you have that starts with "I like thee well" in 152.
Oh, I like thee well. Bound to France.
Yeah, so it has to be, you know, motivated internally. But yes.
Okay, France, you mean?
I'm almost done. Philip, line 168. Oh, you probably figured this out. You want to wait till he tells you to rise up. He's going to tell you to rise up.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
No,
yeah.
no worries. Everybody remember this. There is now urgency. From the moment CHATILLON leaves, there's going to be war. I mean, the Falconbridge gentlemen, they have their own urgency. They're there to settle a really important dispute. But Queen Eleanor and King John, you only have a couple of minutes. You've got to get going right now. You got to get to France. So you're going to listen to this, question of land ownership between the brothers, but partly you take longer than you would have because you're like, could that be Richard's son, right? So that's the thing that kind of makes you pause before you shoot off to France. But remember, you're about to shoot off to France, so we have to get this done quickly and efficiently. Does that make sense? Just remember efficiency, you guys. And your speech, Philip, lovely work. It's really lovely. Really, I think you can lose yourself in the ecstatic fantasy until you suddenly, you know, come back to the room.
Okay.
Until 2:11 when you come back to the room.
Yeah, it was great.
By
Gotcha.
lose yourself, I mean you can go, this is back to the, forget the Shakespeare part. Just be alone with yourself with this new ecstatic news. And you just can't help yourself kind of going off into a, you know, oh my God. So just feel that you are alone, be non-performative. There's nobody there watching you. I don't care if you turn away from the camera, just experience what has just happened and think about what it's going to be like. Does that make
Cool.
sense?
It does. Yeah. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, cool. Okay, let's do it again, you guys.
Right.
Let's go through. Let's stop right after. Right after Essex's just before the gentlemen approach. Shall I produce them and let them approach? Our abbeys and our priors shall pay this expedition's charge. We'll stop there, okay? Take a moment, you guys, to take a moment within yourselves, take a breath, think about where you came from, how long you've been sitting there, or whatever you're doing, and what's about to happen. What you want. What do I want?
Now say, CHATILLON, what would France with us?
After greeting, speaks the King of France in my behavior to the Majesty, the borrowed Majesty of England here.
A strange beginning. Borrowed majesty?
Silence, good mother. Hear the embassy.
Philip of France, in right and true behalf of thy deceased brother Geoffrey's son, Arthur Plantagenet, lays most lawful claim to this fair island and the territories, to Ireland, Poitiers, Anjou, Touraine, Maine, desiring thee to lay aside the sword which sways usurpingly these several titles, and put the same into young Arthur's hand, thy nephew and right royal sovereign.
What follows if we disallow of this?
The proud control of fierce and bloody war, to enforce these rights so forcibly withheld.
Here have we war for war, and blood for blood, controlment for controlment. So answer France.
Then take my king's defiance from my mouth, the farthest limit of my embassy.
Bear mind to him, and so depart in peace. Be thou as lightning in the eyes of France, for ere thou canst report, I will be there. The thunder of my cannon shall be heard. So hence, be thou the trumpet of our wrath, and sullen presage of your own decay. An honorable conduct let him have. Pembroke, look to it. Farewell, Chatillon.
What now, my son? Have I not ever said how that ambitious Constance would not cease till she has kindled France and all the world upon the right and party of her son? This might have been prevented with easy arguments of love, which now the manage of two kingdoms must with fearful bloody issue arbitrate.
Our strong possession and our right for us.
Your strong possession much more than your right, or else it must go wrong with you and me. So much my conscience whispers in my ear, which none but God and you and I shall hear.
My liege, here is the strangest controversy come from the country to be judged by you that e'er I heard. Shall I produce the men?
Let them approach. Our abbeys and our priories shall pay this expedition's charge. What men are you?
Good. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I wanted to stop there. That went so fast and it was beautiful. I think we should just continue, okay?
I'll take it from what men are you.
Thank you.
What men are you?
Your faithful subject, I, a gentleman born in Northamptonshire, and eldest son, as I suppose, to Robert Falconbridge, a soldier by the honor-giving hand of Coeur de Lion, knighted in the field.
What art thou? What art thou?
Son and heir to the same Falconbridge.
Is that the elder, and art thou the heir? You came not of one mother, then, it seems.
Most certain of one mother, mighty king, that is well known, and as I think one father, but for the certain knowledge of that truth, I put you o'er to heaven and to my mother. Of that I doubt, as all men's children may.
Out on thee, rude man! Thou dost shame thy mother and wound her honor with this diffidence.
Aye, madam, no, I have no reason for it. That's my brother's plea, and none of mine, the which if he can prove, he pops me out at least from fair £500 a year. Heaven guard my mother's honor and my land.
A good blunt fellow. Why, being younger born, doth he lay claim to thine estate? One more time. A good blunt fellow. Why, being younger born, doth he lay claim to thine inheritance?
I know not why, except to get the land, but once he slandered me with bastardy. But where I be as true begot or no, that still I lay upon my mother's head. But that I am as well begot, my liege, fair fall the bones that took the pains for me. Compare our faces, and be judge yourself. If old Sir Robert did beget us both, and were our father, and this son like him, O old Sir Robert, father, on my knee, I give heaven thanks, I was not like to thee.
Why, what a madcap hath heaven lent us here?
Well, he hath a trick of Coeur de Lion's face. The accent of his tongue affecteth him. Do you not read some tokens of my son in the large composition of this man?
Mine eye hath well examined his parts, and finds them perfect, Richard. Sirrah, speak. What doth move you to claim your brother's land?
Because he hath a half face like my father. With half that face would he have all my land. A half face groat, 500 pound a year.
My gracious liege, when that my father lived, your brother did employ my father much.
Well, sir, by this you cannot get my land. Your tale must be how he employed my mother.
And once dispatched him in an embassy to Germany, there with the emperor to treat of high affairs touching that time. The advantage of his absence took the king, and in the meantime sojourned at my father's, where how he did prevail, I shame to speak. But truth is truth. Large lengths of seas and shores between my father and my mother lay, as I have heard my father speak himself, when this same lusty gentleman was got. Upon his deathbed, he by will bequeathed his lands to me, and took it on his death that this my mother's son was none of his. And if he were, he came into the world full 14 weeks before the course of time. Then, good my liege, let me have what is mine, my father's land, as was my father's will.
Sirrah, your brother is legitimate. Your father's wife did after wedlock bear him, and if she did play false, the fault was hers, which fault lies on the hazards of all husbands that marry wives. Tell me, how if my brother, who, as you say, took pains to get this son, had of your father claimed this son for his? In sooth, good friend, your father might have kept this calf bred from his cow from all the world. In sooth, he might. Then if he were my brother's, my brother might not claim him, nor your father, being none of his, refuse him. This concludes. My mother's son did get your father's heir. Your father's heir must have your father's land.
Then shall my father's will be of no force to dispossess that child which is not his?
Of no more force to dispossess me, sir, than was his will to get me, as I think.
Whether hast thou rather be a Falconbridge, and, like thy brother, to enjoy thy land, or the reputed son of Coeur de Lion, lord of thy presence, and no land besides?
Madam, and if my brother had my shape, and I had his, Sir Robert his like him, and if my legs were to such riding rods, my arms such eel-skin stuffed, my face so thin that in mine ear I durst not stick a rose, lest men should say, look where 3 farthings goes, and to his shape were heir to all this land, would I might never stir from off this place, I would give it every foot to have this face. I would not be Sir Nob in any case.
I like thee well. Wilt thou forsake thy fortune, bequeath thy land to him, and follow me? I am a soldier now bound to France.
Brother, take you my land. I'll take my chance. Your face hath got 500 pound a year, yet sell your face for 5 pence, and 'tis dear. Madam, I'll follow you unto the death.
Nay, I would have you go before me thither.
Our country manners give our betters way.
What is thy name?
Philip, my liege, so is my name begun. Philip, good old Sir Robert's wife's eldest son.
From henceforth bear his name whose form thou bearest. Kneel down, Philip, but rise more great. Arise, Sir Richard and Plantagenet.
Brother by the mother's side, give me your hand. My father gave me honor. Yours gave land. Now, blessed be the hour by night or day. When I was got, Sir Robert was away.
The very spirit of Plantagenet. I am thy grandam, Richard. Call me so.
Oh, madam, by chance, but not by truth. What though? Something about a little from the right, in at the window or else o'er the hatch. Who dares not stir by day must walk by night. And have is have, however men do catch. Near or far off, well won is still well shot, and I am I, howe'er I was begot.
Go, Falconbridge, now hast thou thy desire. A landless knight makes thee a landed squire. Come, madam, and come, Richard, we must speed for France, for it is more than need.
Brother, adieu. Good fortune come to thee, for thou wast got in the way of honesty. foot of honor, better than I was. But many a foot of land, the worse. Well, now can I make any Joan a lady? Good den, Sir Richard. God a mercy, fellow. And if his name be George, I'll call him Peter. For new-made honor doth forget men's names. 'Tis too respective and too sociable for your conversion. Now, your traveller, he and his toothpick at my worship's mess, and when my nightly stomach is sufficed, why then I suck my teeth and catechize my picked man of countries. My dear sir, thus leaning on my elbow I begin, I shall beseech you. That is question now. Oh, and then comes answer like an absy book. Oh, no, sir, says answer, at your best command, at your employment, at your service, sir. Oh, no, sir, says question. I, sweet sir, at yours. And so answer knows what question would, saving in dialogue of compliment and talking of the Alps and Apennines, the Pyrenean and the River Po. It draws towards supper in conclusion, so. But this is worshipful society, and fits the mounting spirit like myself, for he is but a bastard to the time that doth not smack of observation. And so am I, whether I smack or no. And not alone in habit and device, exterior form, outward accoutrement, but from the inward motion to deliver sweet, sweet, sweet poison for the age's tooth, which though I will not practice to deceive, yet to avoid deceit, I mean to learn, for it shall strew the footsteps of my rising.
Nicely done, team.
So good.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. That was great. I think I might just make a few comments, but I think we might open it up to Nathan and Gideon and the audience. Is this the moment, Nathan? Can I just make a few comments and then
The
I'll let
moment
you-
has arrived, yes. But please, it's still your show, Gigi. You do as much as you like.
I just wanted to compliment my actors. Marcelo, as King John, you had a really strong regal authority this time, and I felt your power. It was really powerful. So
Thanks. I lost myself in the looks. All of a sudden I started thinking about where I was looking and lost a little bit of the thread. But, you know, I just thought, oh, if I do one more time, it'll be perfect. So anyway.
Rehearsal. Madeleine, you too. Very, very nice strength and entitlement. I felt your confidence of who you were. It was great, really powerful.
Yeah. I also didn't know where to look, really. I didn't think that through. Yeah.
Well, we didn't get that far. Philip, beautiful. You know, you made me, this is the first time I've really kind of gotten the character that I, Gigi, have understood the motivation of this character and how he's built. And he's just one of those people who just, you know, he's going to get what he wants no matter what. And he has a charm and an entitlement and a power, personal power. He's a guy with personal power. That's who he is. Personal power, personal charisma. That was beautiful. It's great.
Thank you, Gigi. Thank you.
And Corinna, just great work. Beautiful. Really clear, totally specific. I knew what you wanted and I felt your pain at moments. All of it was all there. So great work, you guys. Let's open it up. Nathan, what do you want us to do now?
Yeah, sure. So, well, I will remind everybody that's here, you can, if you have any questions, you know, for the King John group, you can either put them in the Zoom chat if you'd like me to ask them, or if you know, you're welcome to unmute yourself if you want to ask, or even if you want to come on camera, that's certainly welcome too. I will share a couple comments that came in while you guys were working. Let's see. So Maggie had the comment of engrossing, and then Peter said, "Well done, all. Really enjoyed the difference between first and second run. Bravo, clear and emotionally connected." And I did see some applause emojis flying around. So people seem to really enjoy it. And you know, it's said a number of times when you talk about King John, many people are like, oh, I'm not familiar with the play, or I don't know it, or I haven't seen it. And what I personally enjoyed was getting to explore this scene through the work that you guys were doing. And I kind of mentioned this last night. I think the barometer of a good scene is when you want to see what happens next. You know, you're just kind of so pulled into the story that it's like, well, now what happens? And I think that was present here. That okay, well, and of course, this being the first scene in the play, it sets up everything to follow. So you know, you're very interested of like, well, now what's going to happen with the war and what's going to happen with Philip? I mean, it's a nice cliffhanger scene. So so yeah, no, I thought it was great, and I will ask you know, of the group, and again, you know, people can ask questions as they want. If you can also use the Zoom hand raise function and all that kind of stuff. But you know, I would love to hear from you know, the actors what they found, you know, working, as Gigi mentioned, you know, as a weekly format. You know, even in this short time, how you felt the work grew from week to week, or things that you were able to discover or find in the text, or things that surprised you. You know, I mean, it's a bit of a broad question, but by design. So I would just be curious to hear from the actors what your experience of working on the scene this way was.
Well, if I may,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you know, we start like any rehearsal in a bit of a fog, meaning that we're just kind of finding our way. There's the language. There's, you know, this is so layered with the backstory, and just figuring out who belongs to who's the father, that whole thing is, and it's amazing that little by little, week to week, that becomes clear with Gigi's help and Gideon's help, and then as you're working with the other actors, so that process, which is why I like doing these, is because it is always a challenge, and what may seem something that, oh, this is this is plain speak, you can understand, you realize it's not, and then that you have to spend the time with it to kind of figure it out. And Gideon, I think I left out that one, kneel thou down, Philip, so I say to you in homage, just right now. So it's been wonderful every time. You know, these, and I like having the 4 weeks with a time in between, and it has a, you know, feeling of rehearsal, as this did, and then you think, oh no, if I had just, and then all of a sudden now I'm ready to do it again, right?
Right. Well, the point that came up last week is that, as you mentioned, that time between, that it gives it a little bit of time to ferment and marinate in your brain, as opposed to having to do it every day and having it compacted. That this time allows because there is such complexity with either the language or the backstory, especially in this case. Gideon could have talked for an hour just about all the plots and overthrowing the government, you know, the king and all this kind of stuff. So there is so much going on there. But yeah, no, it's great to hear that the weekly rehearsals can aid in that journey for you guys. Any of the other actors?
I like the format. I like that format.
Oh, good.
The scene, one scene, and 4 weeks.
Right. Any of the other actors want to share, you know, the experience?
Sure, I'll hop in.
Mm-hmm.
It was really great that you expect when you're going to do a Zoom reading, we're going to be focusing, okay, text, and we're going to sit and kind of do our thing. But what was so great, the way that that Gigi approached this entire process with us, was right off the bat. It was, remember who you are physically. This is the world, and I realized, you know, so many times when just rehearsing a Shakespeare play, there isn't necessarily the time, or it's forgotten about, to kind of get everybody on the same page with where we are and what the world is and sort of what those conventions are. And you know, or if that happens, it happens later in the process and everybody starts having to adjust kind of, you know, their performances at that point. And it was really interesting starting from that place here on Zoom. And I think it really helped us it kickstarted us into figuring out our characters and focusing on, you know, our objectives, and that in context of everybody else in the scene and the grand scheme of things. So that was really, really cool.
And Ross, in your case, this was a character that you had played before. I didn't know that, you coming into this. So what was it like to revisit just this, this part of that character?
It was awesome. It's a character with a character like this. You play it the first time and you go, man, I want to do it again and again and again. There were some things that even in this first scene, just textually, I had struggled with the first time through. The first time I worked on the piece, and I really kind of took this opportunity, working with Gigi and with Gideon, to dig in more slowly, with more specificity, with more time, to kind of answer some questions I've had, like for years since that first time, and so I love being able to come back to something and come to a deeper understanding of it. Yeah,
great. With for Corinna or Madeleine, what I'm also curious is, since you guys were able to come into this and work with, these experienced professionals, like Gigi and Marcelo and Ross and Gideon and Ursula, the vocal coach, any of that, that you want to share in addition to your experience of working on the text, I'd love to hear your journey with that.
Sure. I really enjoyed breaking that down, working through the layers, like starting off the first week and talking about our motivation, and then backing up and just working with Gideon and really diving into the text, and then coming back to a rehearsal feeling like I had some more information to add, and then the next week working with Ursula and adding that on. And I so appreciated just listening to the conversations. As Gigi gave people information or suggestions, and actors sort of hearing their thought process through it, trying to understand and figure out that whole, sometimes you understand what's being asked, but you are trying to figure out what you need to be doing to show that. And so yeah, I really enjoyed listening to those interactions and learning from that.
Great. Well, like many of us who have been in an acting class can relate. When you're up and working on your scene, your brain can go to mush and you can't process anything the teacher's trying to tell you. But of course, everyone in the audience, it's clear as day what is being said, what's being asked. So it can be very helpful to have that observational standpoint, in this kind of, to be in the room and to hear the conversations between others. Even if both people, they're communicating clearly, you have the benefit of hearing like, oh, this is okay. Yeah, I see how that would help, or the stress here, or the intention there. That kind of thing is absolutely helpful.
It's amazing how.
Michele.
No, I was just going to say it's amazing how when other people get notes, they are so clear. Why aren't they getting that? And and then you think, oh wait, what did she tell me? Wait,
right.
What?
Or there's the actor mentality of like, but I'm doing that, right? Aren't I doing that? Like I am doing that. It's like, no, you're not doing. You think you're doing it, but that's okay.
Well, I appreciate Gigi. Also, Gigi is so specific. In the breaking down of the acting stuff, that is, because sometimes we just forget to do that part of the work.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's a great reminder. A number of people have mentioned it, that Shakespeare wrote scenes about real people. Yes, they were kings and queens and royalty and all this stuff, but it was what was really going on behind closed doors, and that's what made them relatable, and why we're still talking about it 400 plus years later. So bringing that reality to it, I think is helpful, and to having that, I guess I won't call it a modern approach, but just having that specificity, I think only adds to the scene, to the work overall. Madeleine, was there anything you wanted to share?
I've enjoyed the process. I agree with Marcelo that 4 weeks, one scene. We get the time. It gets the time to sink in, and yes, I've enjoyed it. I love acting. I love it. you know, and I think everybody here in this group is wonderful actors, so I enjoy it very much.
Oh, cool. And I do want to get to Gigi and Gideon in a second. I just want to share a couple more comments from the group. Elizabeth says, love the terrific work I saw in early rehearsal. So it was good to see how well it all developed. Well done, y'all. And then Eleanor had a question for, I guess it's mostly for Ross. With your monologue at the end, you clearly have a facility with the language in terms of speed. Was there a choice in terms of, for yourself, and I'm trying to parse out her question, of how your pace was going to be through that? Because it gets a little, I shouldn't say a little, it gets dense in terms of what you're talking about and the imagery you're using. So did you think about, I should, did you ever go through it or think about, I need to really slow this down or not? Or how did you approach it in terms of just your pace?
Yes, that's something that I do think about pace a lot. Just throughout the process, I will admit at the place, I'm not done with that piece. I still feel, I don't feel like, if this were opening night, I would be like, no, there's still so much to do, so this is sort of a mid process, a mid process place where I feel like I am. I would definitely want to revisit pace, especially to make sure that I'm not rushing over things that are too complex for clarity and things like that. And honestly, that last time, I was just for a window in, if that's helpful, to match up what you might have seen with what was going on in my mind that time, was I was focusing on that sort of emotional springboard that Gigi had mentioned before this last time, and using that excitement through the first half. I don't know if that is at all part of so I wasn't thinking about pace, but I imagine I'm in my excitement, I might have gotten sped up at that time. And then I sort of let myself out of that at line 210 or whatever the place was where he comes out of it. So yes, I do think about pace very, very much so when I'm breaking down how I'm going to be doing something eventually. That was part of my process up to this point, but it wasn't on my mind that time.
Sure, yeah. And I think, for a lot of actors, there's the work that you're doing, and then eventually you just kind of trust that it's there when you tell the story. But I think the question was partly about just your preparation to that point. And what I want to also distinguish is that I don't think I don't believe it's happening in this case, but a lot of times actors, when they're unclear about something, can tend to go very quickly because they're just thinking, I just want to get through this. I don't know what's going on, and I don't want anyone to quiz me what's going on. So let me just say this as fast as humanly possible so we can get to the next thing. And I know you've spent a lot of time working on this piece, including on a session with Gideon, to really, I think it seemed to really help you understand what is it I'm talking about? What is everything that's going on? So from my perspective, it seemed like you were very clear what you were trying to communicate. It's just figuring out how can you then make sure that's clear to the audience. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I guess speed isn't necessarily something that I feel like I need to be afraid of, so long as there's a director, text coach, or whatever, that's there to say to let me know, like, hey, hold on, you need to slow down. And I think if operatives and rhetoric work and everything like that is solid, so that it's more than just me knowing what it is I'm saying and trusting that if I know, then the audience will know, but actually making sure that I'm on point with my text work, that then you can speed things up and the audience will be able to follow the argument. And has come from years of watching great actors, and some of them, Dakin Matthews comes to mind. Like, sometimes, man, he is moving at lightning speed, and I'm like, and I just feel like it's magic because I'm understanding with crystal clarity everything that he's saying in very dense things.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it applies to, you know, both Shakespeare and certainly Shaw, that, and I won't be as eloquent saying this, but there's a certain quality where you can go as fast as possible, as long as you are clear about what you're saying. That as clear as you are, you can go that fast because the audience will keep up with you. And a comment just came in as we were talking about this, that Joe said, I thought the speed the second time added to the character and to my interest about what happens next. And
cool.
no meaning was lost because the phrasing was still quite clear. So that kind of goes to your point that you were making, Ross. Thank you, and thank you all for your comments as they're coming in. Gigi, I'd love to hear your experience with working on this scene. I don't know if you were familiar with the play at all, or, you know, I mean, certainly maybe in some context you might, you know, certainly have known these characters, but what was it like, your journey working on all this?
I didn't know the play, so thank you for, you know, adding to my repertoire of
Sure.
Shakespeare plays that I've read. I just want to add on to that pace conversation, because I take some responsibility if anybody felt it was too fast, because I did urge the actors to be aware of the given circumstances, which, you know, King John has just declared war, and Philip is about to join his new, you know, family on the way to France. He, you know, we talked about, he's leaving here to do what? He's got to go grab his stuff and come right back because they're on their way in 10 seconds, you know, to get on a boat for Calais or whatever. So the urgency, we did talk a lot about the urgency of this, of the whole scene, from the moment that Chatillon leaves. There's a new, it's like a new world has just, you know, has just happened. England is at war, taking a little break to have a little conversation with to settle a dispute, which then turns into like more important, because could this be Richard's heir? And so that there's a little pause for that. But the moment that that's all resolved, the king and the queen go off because they're preparing to leave, and Philip is going to go pack. So he had to have some urgency in that moment of, you know, in between, that moment of where he's giddily experiencing this mind-blowing thing that just happened, the way you do in real life. You just, everything stops for a moment and then he's off. So
right.
Take some responsibility for if it was too fast. And I do tend to work quickly, because in real life, I mean, I'm a speedy person, as you can see, but a lot of people are, and a lot of television shows are now. So I like to encourage actors to allow natural human. Of course, we are faster now than we used to be, I'm sure, much faster than they were in Shakespeare's. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it seems that we're just super speeded up now. Everything is just super speedy.
Right.
But I just like it to be natural, to be real. I want it to be real.
Mm-hmm.
It was wonderful working with these fabulous actors. All of them are lovely, lovely actors, lovely to work with. I appreciate, I'm speaking to the actors, I appreciate your openness and willingness to hear any and all suggestions or ideas, you know, that I might have thrown your way. I hope that I'm open and willing to hear, you know, alternative ideas, of course. Gideon was just amazingly helpful. Not being a Shakespeare expert, to have Gideon with us gave me and the rest of us such a sense of security and safety. And I didn't even have to worry that much about it, because Gideon was there and I could just concentrate on, you know, the basics of a good scene, of acting,
Mm-hmm,
good,
mm-hmm.
you know, taking good material and making it, you know, delivering it in a way that is dramatic.
Yeah, great.
Super fun. You know, of course you want 10 more weeks, and
Of course. Yeah.
you know, you just want to chew on it for just forever, because you can, because it's Shakespeare. You could spend endless amount of time on this one scene. You could try it 50 different ways. You could, you know, it's just delicious material.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's great. That's great to hear.
But really having Gideon there it's like the difference between night and day in terms of for a non-Shakespeare expert director to have that blanket of knowledge and perspicacity and acuity and noticing. It was amazing.
Yeah, I second that.
Thank you, Gideon.
Well, may 2021 be the year of the dramaturge. I hope there's a resurgence in recognizing how valuable that position can be, and certainly in our workshops, all the groups have said as much, to have someone there that is so knowledgeable about the text, and having, I mean, even for professional actors, having another set of eyes and ears on it, not just, oh, you missed this word, but here's something that will help you make what you're doing clearer, and that helps everybody. And so, Gideon, I'd love to hear from you what your experience of working on King John. I mean, again, I don't know if you had done much work on it prior to this, but what was it like to go through it over these weeks?
Well, I prepared by reading the play again. I hadn't read it in years. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in a good production, but it's a tough play. There are lots of thorniness issues in it. One of them is there is a minimal amount of action. I described to the actors and Gigi how later in the play, two big armies come in and they talk, and then they go out, and then they come in and they talk again. And it's it's an early play. It's very rhetorical, but mainly I want to say what I always say in these opportunities is, first of all, thank you to Gigi for letting me stick around for all those rehearsals and give my notes, because I feel like I'm standing up for what Shakespeare means. And that's always a pleasure, because when I'm working with good actors, which these all are, I get to hear what I tell them Shakespeare means. I say it and then they do it. And it's so satisfying. It's so rewarding. But I also have to say that it's great to have to put that out there, and then have Gigi with her vision of how it needs to be dramatic, light a firecracker under the actors and make that all energized.
Sure.
And I think those two studies have to go together hand in hand. And I've been expressing how luxurious it feels to me to be able to stick around through the process and not have to worry about director saying, get out of here, we're blocking, get out of here, it's a tech rehearsal, get out of here, I have to go get a costume and all that, where I can just keep listening to what people are saying and keep tinkering, and it just gets clearer and clearer. So thank you for that opportunity, and thank you to the actors for doing as much as possible what I tell them, because it turns out that the audience has a much better experience when they mean what they're saying. This is Dakin Matthews' main theme, is it's not, just don't follow all those rules, just make the meaning clear. And if you, my motto is, if you want the actors, if you want the audience to mean their applause, you have to mean what you're saying. You can't skip over those sentences that are obscure, that you're rushing to get through, or you can't, as I used to describe it, be emoting all over the stage and carrying a huge sack of words on your back. You know, it's the opposite. You have to mean every single thing you're saying and know what it is, and then it just scintillates, and Shakespeare makes it come alive. Why that is, it's magical. We don't really know, but he has that gift.
Yeah.
So,
well, his name came up twice. So for anyone who's not familiar, I encourage you to Google Dakin Matthews. I don't think you'll find many duplicates, but if you can either get hold, he's been doing some Shakespeare videos, and if you can either find somewhere to watch those, or any of his other work, and certainly once we get back into the theaters, if you ever have the opportunity to see him act or teach a master class on Shakespeare, he's somebody that like Gideon has spent his life really working on it and studying it. He started as an English teacher, and so came with it from an academic background, and then realized or got the opportunity to start acting in plays in the summer. And he said, well, I bet I could teach them better if I started acting in them. And that just kind of snowballed into his career. And so he's a wonderful resource if you're interested.
He's got great YouTube videos that you can.
yes.
Can you
Yes.
repeat the name, please?
Dakin Matthews, D-A-K-I. I'll put that in the chat. That's what I can use this chat for.
He's one of the few people as dramaturg and a teacher of Shakespeare who, when I listen to him, I say, that's right, good for you, good for saying that. Almost, I would say probably 92.5% of the time, if not 95. He's just superb. So, and the issues we disagree about, we take up in private, and I wouldn't publicize them.
Let's see, I wanted to also, let's see if I can find it here. We have the very young baby Falconbridge has now made an appearance. I wanted to share the links that I had. I don't know where I put those, but I'll put those again in here. That I just wanted to remind everyone, again, we're doing As You Like It tomorrow at 5 p.m. and then we have a great group doing that. And if you have other questions, again, now's a great time to jump in with those. If anyone else has anything to share too, that this is anything else you want to share about the process, or anything like that, welcome your feedback and thoughts. As I type some stuff out here for the group. Oh, I see there is a hand raised. All right, so let me see. Let me try to unmute Maggie. Maggie, I think you're unmuted.
I just want to compliment everybody as well. I'm relatively new compared to so many people at this, and I have watched the rehearsals, and I have to say, every night, myself accepted, the rehearsals start at such a high level, in my opinion, and then to just see what's happened though in these few weeks, like you say, Gigi, it isn't actually that much time that you get to spend together, because each actor is going to get some of your attention as well. So it was just fantastic tonight. It was really beautiful to see how it had all come together. And a question I have, and it may seem like it's obvious what the answer is, but I'd like to hear from you, Gigi. What informs you in terms of how you approach giving your feedback to the different actors? And also, I want to say, I had no idea that you were not a Shakespeare expert. I don't know if the other people could tell that, or if they just were like, nah, she didn't know. I was like, from the very beginning, I thought, yeah, this woman really knows that stuff. But anyway, I'll mute myself for the answer.
All right, Gigi, you're muted again.
I see that. How foolish of me to say that. Of course, I'm an expert in all things. My approach, I'm primarily an actor myself, and I teach acting now, and I direct occasionally. But the approach is from an actor's standpoint. So the work that I do for any role is what I apply to my directing. That is to say, to my directing actors. That is to say, I think about the questions I ask myself about the world of the play. So of course, reading the play numerous times, so you're very familiar with the circumstances and the other characters. So I like to look at the whole before I look at an individual role or look at the parts. First, what's the world? And then you get to know the characters and who's motivated in what way. And then I come down, speaking as when I work as an actor, then I come down to the role that I'm working on, and what's my particular circumstance, what happened in the past, what's happening now, what am I anticipating for the future, what is the time, what time and place am I in, what are my wounds, all that stuff. And then what do I want most importantly, what must I have, and what's in the way of what I want to get, and what action am I going to take to get what I want. I use Uta Hagen's book, A Challenge for the Actor, is sort of my Bible. So I apply all that I use for myself as an actor, and I try to pose questions to the actors that will allow them to come to it themselves. I think sometimes when you, as a director, I do make specific suggestions, but it's always more powerful for an actor to make a discovery him or herself, themselves, I don't know how to say that anymore, themselves, if the actor makes the discovery themselves, then it is going to inform the work so much better than if somebody tells them what to do. You know, you have to discover it. You have to discover it internally. So, so mostly I think asking questions is really valuable and allowing the actor to come to it. You know, I'm meandering, but I hope that answered your question, Maggie.
Yeah, thank you, Maggie, for the question. If you had a follow up, you know, feel free to raise your hand again or unmute if you'd like to. I'll kind of give a last call for questions. You know, from anyone from the audience. I really appreciate you know, the group being here, and I want to thank the King John team for all their work. You know, over the past month, it's been really wonderful to see the scene grow. But yeah, if there are no other burning questions, you know, please check the chat, you know, for some links. I will definitely send an email to everybody that signed up with the replay link if you'd like to go back and watch this. And you know, stay tuned. I'm sure we'll do this again in some form, in some fashion at some point. So yeah, I just really appreciate everybody, not only, you know, the King John group here, but everybody attending. So that's it. No other questions? Yes, thank you. Thank you again for everybody. And that's it. What I'm going to do is move all the attendees back into the waiting room, or you're welcome to you know, drop off the call, sign off, and we'll go from there. But thank you again, everybody, for coming tonight, and great time. And if the King John team can just hang out for a second, then we'll reconvene shortly.